Hi there. So I'm kicking off the Christmas presents series with a few videos all about why we like Christmas trees. So today I want to look at the natural structure that a Christmas tree starts out as. We have this tiny little pine nut, and before you know it, it's got roots, it's got a trunk and branches and pine needles, and then it's having little pine cones of its own. And we're not so different. We start off with a few cells, and before you know it, we're big walking, talking, hairy creatures who can do things like make videos for YouTube, or eat sushi, or make stuff out of Play-Doh, and the mind boggles. It's incredible. And we have so much that we take for granted that we can't even intellectually really begin to understand. I take our common sense, for example. Artificial intelligence programmers haven't been able to come up with something that looks like that they can program into robots, because it defies the logic that we're capable of expressing. At the moment, it's quite mind-boggling when you start to dig down how complex and intricate our minds are, and how much we've been given by nature. And what I want to suggest today is that happiness is one of those things too, that we have an innate capacity for happiness, and that we can best access that from the present moment. Now, you can see through the sciences and philosophy and in religion and other branches of human endeavour that inquire into what we are and why we are. And there's certainly the idea that happiness is within us has been woven through in all of these fields, in all these areas. And yes, there's other opinions too, but aren't there always? What I really firmly believe to be true is that we have happiness within us that we can access, and that's just another word for mental health, or or you can call it inner peace or optimal functioning or whatever. I mean, when we're mindful, when we're present, then our brains simply work better. And that's because evolution's designed us to live in the present moment. It hasn't designed us to live in our heads. Now, to look at some examples of how this works, say, you don't have to look beyond your babies, your children. Say you have a little 4-month-old baby, and they do one of those really enormous explosive poos that only 4-month-old babies seem to be able to do, and they're shocked by it, and they don't know what the hell just happened to them, and they cry, and you go and change them, and then they're better, and they don't go to nappy therapy. They don't worry about what just happened to them. They're fine because they're back in their health, and they're back in their present moment, and they just get on with life from there. And so my 1-year-old daughter, this is my youngest one, she had a series of ear infections, and it was very uncomfortable for her, and she had to be taken to the hospital and get examined and have doctors prodding her, and it was unpleasant, and she really disliked it. She didn't understand why it was happening to her, or why these people wanted to do this. And yet, just before we left the surgery, before we left the doctor's room, then she'd be blowing kisses and smiling and laughing and waving, and reaching out to the people that she'd just been fighting a minute ago. She didn't take it personally, and she didn't worry about it once she was away from the unpleasant experience. She was just getting on with her life. She'd bounced back to her mental health, to her well-being, and to her happiness. And we all have this in us. We all have the capacity to do this. And during the Christmas period, the more present you can be, then it stands to reason that the happier you can be. And this is not something you have to work at. It's not something you have to think about. It's something that you just need to notice, because it's always there, and you can't do anything about that, even if you wanted to. So I'll leave you with that today, and we'll come back to why we like Christmas trees tomorrow. Take care.